Welcome everyone to Atomic Empowerment 30-day Detox Your Mind Challenge. And as a treat to everyone, I've invited an amazing, incredible soul. Her name is Nicole Petschek, coach with decades of experience. And she specializes in EFT. And tonight she's going to give us lots of interactive exercises to teach us how we can instantly declutter our minds. So without further ado, welcome, Nicole.
Thanks, Beverley. So guys, I'm going to just go quickly back to, I think it was Christine who said she's new and doesn't know what EFT is all about. I want you to know that EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, for those of you who don't know it. Why do I love it? Because it's a technique, which means everybody can learn it. It's like driving a car. It's like brushing your teeth. It's a technique, right? You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to study it. You just have to apply it. And what it does, it frees us from our emotions. And what is an emotion? An emotion is, you probably heard this before, energy in motion. And what are we? What is everything? Energy. So it's like if you have a runaway car, you have to stop the car. If you have runaway emotions, you don't ignore that the car is running away. You don't ignore that you've got a bad emotion. You address the emotion. You address the runaway car. You put up a net or you do something. And with your emotions, you start tapping. So first, I'm just going to give you a little bit of scientific or a little bit of background knowledge, because I want you to understand that this is not woo-woo, this is magic, and that everything I will tell you and everything you will be doing today is based in neurosciences. When I started doing this, well over 20 years ago, okay, and I'll just give you my story of how I discovered it so that you know where I'm coming from. There was really no scientific background on it, but why did I grab it with both hands and run with it? Because it worked for me. At the time, I had started coughing. No reason. I'd given up smoking years before that, so there was no reason for the coughing. And the cough got worse and worse. I went to the doctors over a 3-month period. It got to the point where I couldn't even speak a sentence because I was coughing so much that, and I couldn't finish a sentence. The doctors couldn't find anything the matter with me. And they said they were going to do a ponction lombaire, where they sort of put something into your lungs and they extract the fluid. And I said, okay, fine. But I was leaving for, I can't remember, it was LA or San Francisco the next day. And I said, you can do that investigative thing when I come back. And I'm coming back in 10 days' time. And that night, just before I got on the airplane, I happened to see on the internet EFT. And I said, what's that? I've never seen these initials. I'm talking about 2002 or 3 or something like that, 4, I can't remember. And, Google wasn't as proficient as it is today. And when I landed, and it kept something was working in my brain throughout the whole flight across the Atlantic. And when I landed in LA, I said, I'm going to look what this EFT is. And I quickly looked it up. And I read about it. And I noticed that in the place where I was staying, just around me, they happened to be 3 EFT workshops. And I thought, oh my God, this is quite well known over here on the West Coast. And I said, let's see if this works. So I jumped in the cab, went to a place, walked in, and I promise you, I thought I'd landed in a loony bin. There were 3 people attending and one sort of, teacher, and they were all doing. And I looked at them and she said, please sit down and join us. Well, I was embarrassed to leave. I was there. I stayed. And I couldn't talk. I couldn't even say, hi, my name is Nicole, because I couldn't talk. So I just sat down and I followed around, keeping my mouth shut while they were talking. I just followed where they were tapping. But the crazy thing was that as I was wondering what's going on and feeling really self-conscious that I couldn't join in the conversation with these other 3, what I thought were lunatics, okay? I noticed that after about 15 or 20 minutes, my coughing had subdued a little bit. I was able to, by the end of the 2-hour workshop, I was able to, I wouldn't say finish a sentence, but I was able to at least give my name and who I was. And I asked the mediator, the teacher, right? And I said, can you please take me for a private session? Right? Because I'm not here very long. She took me for a private session the next day. My cough went zing all the way down. I said, how did you do this? And she explained to me how she did it. She explained to me a little bit of what it was about. It was a 45-minute, private session, so she couldn't give me a PhD in it. And I flew back to France. And when I went to France, I went to see the doctor. And the doctor said, what did you do? I mean, I was speaking normally. The cough was gone. And he'd been looking for 3 months. I was in and out of, clinics and hospitals and trials and labs. What did you do? And I said, I did this. He said, what? He said, okay, bye-bye, you're fine, goodbye. And he was afraid of, I'd gone completely cuckoo. I went back home and Skype existed. And I called up that lady who did it to me. And I said to her, you've got to teach me how this works. And so I paid her. She became my teacher and I learned. And from that day on, I promise you, I have addressed every single issue that gets in my way. I used to play polo for many years, and I used to fall down and really, break and sprain and blah, 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 and all this. The doctors would say, you're going to be in the hospital for so long. Within days, weeks, I was out of there. Okay? And there was nothing scientific to prove it. The scientific papers started to come out in around 2008. And now today, I think they're over, if I'm not mistaken, I think there are over 300 papers in English, in magazines like Nature and, and something, all those, very ethical scientific journals that prove how EFT work. Okay. So I want you to know that today we know for a fact that tapping gives a measurable result, not only on your physical discomforts, but also on what I call the invisible discomforts, like, situations, worries in jobs, people who don't have breakthroughs in their businesses. Why do I always work so hard and somebody else gets the promotion? Or why do I work so hard in my marketing and it's the firm next door that sells all the goods, right? There seem to be invisible blocks around people. And as everything is energy, right? Those blocks are a density of negativity that are around us or in our vicinity that we are not even aware of anymore. It's like you're not used to the bad smell in the garage or the back of the car, or, we get used to it. Now, it's not because we get used to it that it's not acting. And this is what I call the sort of, the toxic effect in the background. And negative energy is toxic. Very simple. It impacts the body. It impacts these invisible situations, whether they're relationships or jobs or whatever, okay? So we want to learn how to speak language. Language is energy. Language is frequency. Every word is a frequency. The good thing about EFT is you don't have to be a PhD. You don't have to be a psychiatrist. The only thing you need to do is to tap on what you know. And you only know what you know. I'm angry. I've got a toothache. I'm worried, my husband, my son didn't come back. I'm worried I won't be able to meet the credit card payments or whatever it is. These are things that we know, right? And what we know are our symptoms. When we address our symptoms, this is a little bit where I want to explain to you the neuroplasticity and the amygdala. And I don't, I'm not a doctor. I want you to know that. But these parts of the biology that I give you an example of, I want you to understand them, because sort of like driving a car, if you know where the gear shift is, you just drive it better. So what happens is when we have two types of thoughts. First of all, let me take that even deeper. A thought is the ground level. And we can either have thoughts that we choose to think about, and those become our conscious thoughts. Or we have thoughts that are running in the background like a hamster wheel. And they have been running for so long, those thoughts, that we don't even question them anymore. We don't question if the sun is out. We don't question if the weather's nice, right? We don't question why. We take things for granted. But those thoughts, the more they run in the background, they eventually become a belief. So a belief is really just the second tier of a thought, which has happened so often that it becomes a belief. And these beliefs get anchored into our programming, otherwise known as the subconscious mind. Where is this famous subconscious mind, right? It flows between the brain all the way down the spine and back and forth. It's the highway. That's where our autonomous nervous system is. It's running back and forth. So biologically, it's anchoring into our body. Okay? Remember, energy, emotion, energy in motion. So this energy, which is going up and down the spine from the brain, leaves photons, because you can see the energy move when you go into these, big labs where they wire you up and, and measure you. They can see where the thoughts are going. They can see if you're having a good thought. They can see if you're having a bad thought. And according to the thought, how do they know it? Because of the intensity of the photons. So they can see these photons, these little, light particles moving around the different parts of the brain, moving around the different parts of the body. And while it comes to my mind, I want to give you an example of a lady who had, I can't remember what the problem was. So she goes in to be tested. She gets wired up like an astronaut. And while everybody was in the background, all these doctors were reading their graphs, she was just sitting there on that chair waiting for the results, what they were going to see. And when she came in, her whatever markers were very bad and very heavy and very dense, and they could see these on the machines. These are very sophisticated machines. And then after about 15 minutes or 20 minutes, the story that I heard, because I wasn't there, the story I heard was all of a sudden, these markers just started to disappear. And the people who were doing the research on her, they thought something was wrong with their machines or with their wiring, because they were not getting the intensity that they had gotten and nothing had changed. So this lady was sitting in the chair, could hear the lab technician saying, "What's wrong?" Excuse me, is there a loose connected wire? And the lady said, "What's going on?" And they said, "We don't know what's happened. All of a sudden, all your markers, which were so intense, have gone off. What are you doing?" Without thinking she was doing anything. And she said, "I'm not doing anything." Well, actually, come to think of it, you know what? I was just sitting here letting you do your stuff. And I realized what an asshole my husband is. He's such a bloody asshole. I can't change. I'm just going to forgive him. I'm just going to forgive him. And, that's all that's what went through my mind. And they said, "What?" And, they got involved in the human level, the lab technician and the client, the patient. And she said, "Yeah, he's just such an asshole. I haven't been sleeping for months. I can't, all sorts of bad things. I'm done with this. I'm just going to forgive him and move on with my life." And they realized that what she had done was she had done an act of forgiveness. She didn't set this up to be a spiritual thing, but it showed in the markers. This is how strong our energy is. Now, she did it unknowingly. It was sort of like, the time was right for her. But I believe, as human beings, we are the only living species that can actually make a conscious choice. Animals can't, plants can't, okay? They can all react. But a human being can actively choose to make a choice. And if you're going through a bad time, whatever that bad time is, right? You don't fight it. You don't blame the circumstances. You choose to say, aha, this is showing up in my life now because of me. So I don't know where it started or why it started, right? You know, a psychiatrist will say, if you're an alcoholic, oh, when did you first start drinking, or when did you first start drugging, trying to find the reason? And what that does is it makes you think back to memories that you had at the moment. You know, I don't know, my father beat me, or my whatever brother raped me, or whatever it was, you know, and that's when I started drinking or drugging. But what happens is every time you think about something without tapping, you activate that neurochemical again from the amygdala. The amygdala is like the emotional headquarter in the brain. And when we have a conscious or an unconscious thought, it's a vibration. And that vibration goes to the emotional headquarter. And the moment it hits the emotional headquarter, travels over to the hippocampus, right? And there in real time, all the matching hormones to the thought spread out through the body. So if you're happy and you're love, all of a sudden you feel, oh, what is it? Oxytocin, dopamine, all these wonderful hormones. That's why you feel in love, right? We don't have an emotion. We don't have a feeling without an emotion. It doesn't exist. The feeling is the result of an emotion, bad or good. When you're feeling angry or in pain, you address it because you know you're feeling angry, you know you're feeling in pain, you know you're feeling doubtful, whatever. So, oh my God, I'm doubtful. I will choose to tap, which means to love myself because I'm deleting. What is bothering me now? I'm not going to judge it. I'm not going to judge saying, you know, you bad girl, you're feeling doubtful, or you bad girl, you're jealous, or you bad girl, you don't trust yourself. No, 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 no. That's what I'm feeling. So I'm tapping on this. What happens, and this is what I want to explain to you before I take you through the process. When we tap on these 9 points of the upper body, and there are many more, but there's only so much I can cover today, okay? Is what you call the basic recipe. When we tap on those points, these points that we're tapping on, think of them like the end points of meridians. And I like to think of the meridians as a straw, very simple straw. So these straws are running around our body. And when we tap on these points, inside the straw is running up and down the neurochemical messages produced by the hippocampus, from the amygdala. And these neurochemical messages, which are coming adrenaline, cortisol, noradrenaline, you know, how do you say it in English? Noradrenaline, anyhow in French, okay? Right?
Noradrenaline in English as well.
Thank you. And these are chemical messages. When you take a sleeping pill, that pill that you take has got a neurochemical message that goes to your brain and you go to sleep, right? Neurochemical messages work. The pills that we take are copies of the messages that we create in our body. So if you want to sleep, you don't have to take you don't have to take a sleeping pill. You can start tapping on what's bothering you. Let's say what's bothering you is you can't sleep. Let's say you don't want to go into the whole shebang of I'm not sleeping because I'm worried about meeting the mortgage payments, or the husband running away, or the not getting the job. That's second level. Start by tapping on what you know, right? Those are your symptoms. What is happening in the background? And this is what I want you to have, this clear sort of image. You won't get a medical PhD on this, okay? But you will understand what's going on in your body. Is as you are tapping on these points, the tapping creates a vibration. And that vibration is going all the way down the straw. And this vibration is actually disrupting the neurochemical message. The message is not going through clearly to your body. The tapping is disrupting, right? So the message, the neurochemical message that is supposed to end up making you feel nervous or making you feel worried, which is stopping you from sleeping, right? The message is being broken. And so the body is not getting the message of be nervous, don't sleep. If the message is not there, you get to sleep. Decluttering your thoughts means what? There's no clarity. What do you need for clarity? You need light. But the light's always there. I mean, the sun is always there, under or over the equator. The sun is always there. The only time you don't see the sunlight is when? Is when either the moon goes in front or something like that during the night, or when clouds go in front during the day. But the sunlight is always there. So when you're lacking clarity in your thoughts, it's because these clouds are going in front of the light. So when you tap, I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm not. Sorry. When you tap, the message, which is vibrating, is breaking the transmission of that message to the end receivers in our body. Because these hormones start from up here and flood our body and end up in receptors. Our body's got receptors. And this is the last little sort of technical bit I want to explain to you before I'm going to bring you through the actual tapping, which I want you all to experience. So let's say you're a sugar junkie or an alcohol junkie or a drug junkie. You take your drug, right? You get a high. And then why do we have a crash? Because as the chemicals go through our body, they land on the receptors somewhere. You go, oh, wonderful. I've had my intake today of whatever it is, right? And then after a while, it's like, if you have caviar every day, big deal. It doesn't even, impress you anymore, okay? So the receptors have had their intake of drugs and we crash, we're bored. Time for another smooze up, right? Now, the same thing happens if we are running emotions, and everybody's got different emotions. Some people have automatic emotions of sadness. Other people have automatic emotions of anger. Other people have automatic emotions of jealousy. They don't want to admit it, but they get jealous of everything. Others of fear. Those emotions are a drug. Why are they a drug? Because you've had them for so often that your receptors have gotten used to having them. And if you don't, and if your body is not getting its daily dose of fear or jealousy or anger or whatever it is, okay, hello, the body is going to give you, very sneaky, the mind, is going to give you a way of perceiving a situation that will make you think angry, scared, or jealous again. And this is why you're going through this habitual hamster wheel of the same flipping emotions. And this is why alcoholics, or I just take it because it's easier to understand this as an example, or people who have been on drugs and they go clean, they go through the cold turkey bit and they go through all of that, right? They go through it. Wow, they've overcome the demons. And yet, 6 months, a year down the road, they start drinking again or drugging again or whatever it is again. Why? Because the body all of a sudden says, hey, I haven't had my dose for a while. Time to get angry or time to feel scared. And it will bring that energy out. So you will be emitting an energy that will be seeking a situation for you to experience that again. Oh, great. Perfectly normal for me to get angry under the circumstances. Let's get angry. This is when you have gotten into the habit of tapping, you become right away aware of, oh, danger, and I'm not going to give into this. And you just tap, even though, for example, I'm afraid that they want me to eat, they want me to drink, they want me to drug. I don't want to do it, but I'm afraid of the, I can see the red lights. You tap. That tapping is you taking control, your responsibility, your ability to respond to your own emotions. And with time, tapping becomes your quickest and best friend, because all you need to do is identify what's bothering you, tap, whether you like it or not. Okay? Now, today I can only do the basic sort of recipe thing because it's obvious that sometimes you can't tap because you're in public. But there are other ways of tapping, even when you're in public, which I'll address maybe in a masterclass or another time, where you are responding to yourself and not allowing yourself to go down that road. So is this all sort of clear for everyone? Do you have any questions before I bring you through some tapping rounds? Everybody got that clear? Oh, good. Okay, great. So let's start with remember I talked about the beliefs, right? So I'd like you all to take a minute, take a few seconds to think about a belief that you have about something, for example, that you've not been able to accomplish. You're just not going through that glass ceiling. I don't care if it's health or relationship or business or career, okay? And just take a minute or a few seconds to identify something that's really bothering you that you're not having a breakthrough, right? Have you all done that? You've all done that? Okay, good. Raise your hand if you've done it. Wonderful. Okay. Now I want you to sort of feel, how upset do you feel that you haven't done it? 0, you don't give a damn. And 10, it's off the charts. You are really pissed off that it hasn't happened yet. Okay? So grade yourself from a 0 to a 10. And the intensity of that charge right now. Okay? Have you done that? Raise of hands. Okay, wonderful. So now what we have done here is we have identified to our GPS where we are. We are at this level and we want to go to 0, which means we feel fine, right? So we want to go from feeling bad to feeling good. And we're going to notice at the end of our tapping where our energies have shifted. It's different for everyone, but whatever we feel is our own truth. So I'm going to guide you through where we tap, and I want you to follow me, and you can say it out loud or to yourself. And we start tapping on the karate chop, which is like between the pinky and the end of you. It's literally the karate chop, the fleshy part of the side of the hand. Okay, it doesn't matter which hand, by the way, right? And you're going to just say, even though I have this belief, and I'm not even sure what that belief it is, but it's been holding me back. But I nevertheless deeply and completely respect myself. And we're going to do it again. And you can change hands if you want to. You can do it on the same hand. It's irrelevant. And you're going to say, we're going to do this from 3 times. So this is the second time. Even though this belief, for example, feels so true, and I can't break free from this belief, I stay open to changing. And we'll do it one more time just to make sure. This is where we're identifying to our body what we're tapping on, what we want our body to focus on. And even though I've believed this for so long, I honor my feelings and I'm ready to let it go. And now we start here at the eyebrow point. The eyebrow point is you just take 2 fingers and you apply them to the inside of your eyebrows where the hair meets the skin, okay? You can do both sides or one side, but that's the first point. And here you're going to say, this limiting belief feels so real. And you move your fingers around to the side of your eye, not your temple, the side of your eye, with like a little dent. And you say, this limiting belief has been stuck in my mind for as long as I can remember. And then you go underneath your eye, sort of like under, top of your cheekbone. And here you can say, this limiting belief tells me I can't succeed or I can't achieve what I want to. And then you go underneath the nose, upper lip, right? And here you're going to go, this belief feels like so powerful and unchangeable. And you move your fingers down into the crease of your chin, not the tip, the crease of your chin. And here you're going to say to yourself or out loud, what if I'm stuck with this belief forever? And then you're going to bring your hand to your collarbone, which is really, you can either open one hand over the top of your collarbone, but it's sort of like where a man's tie knot is, or very good, Katrina's yawning. That's excellent, because that means the body's relaxing. I love it when I give conferences and I see people yawn. I say, well done. You're relaxing. It's working on you. And so you sort of click here, or with 2 hands, with one, and just say, this limiting belief, your limiting belief, whatever it is, makes me feel small and it makes me feel powerless. And then you're going to lift your arm up, doesn't matter which arm, and you go to the middle of your armpit at the height of the bra strap, right? And you're going to say, I'm frustrated that this limiting belief is holding me back. Even if I don't know what the limiting belief is, but there's a limiting belief that's holding me back, and I'm feeling frustrated. And now you go to the top of the head, where there are lots of little points up there. So I just say, play the piano up there, okay? And just say, but part of me wonders, what if it's not true? I wonder, what if it's not true? And now we're going to go back to the karate chop, and we're going to do a second round. So you're going to say, even though I've believed it for so long, I'm open to see it differently now. And then again, even though this belief feels like it's my truth, I'm willing to question my truth today. And then you do it just one more time and you go, even though it feels really hard to let go of this belief, I'm choosing consciously to release this belief one tap at a time. It's my choice. And now we're going to go to the eyebrows again. So what if this belief isn't the absolute truth? Now we're going to go to the side of the eye. I'm really ready to release this story piece by piece. Underneath the eye. And I've been telling myself to do this, but now I'm going to do it. And under the nose. I think maybe it's safe to let go of this old belief. And we're going to go into the chin again. Because I'm now open to seeing all of this in a new way. And you go to the collarbone. And I'm choosing not to allow this belief to define me anymore. Now we go under the armpit. I'm ready to let go of this belief so that I can create a better story. And here we go to the top of the head. And I'm choosing freedom over fear. And now we're going to do a third round. And this is where we're going to install like an empowering belief. We're going to end on installing an empowering belief so you feel better. So we go back to the karate chop and we say, even though I've held on to this belief for so long, I now choose to believe something empowering. And we go, same hand or another one. I'm open to replacing my old limitations with endless possibilities. I call that the zone of possibilities, the fourth dimension. And then I say, I deserve to believe in myself and in my own potential. This is new, but this is what I'm choosing to believe. And now we go back to the eyebrows. So I'm choosing a new belief about myself now. It's up to me to choose what I want to believe about myself, and I'm choosing it. Side of the eye. I am capable and I am worthy of success. Underneath the eye. I can and I am achieving whatever I'm setting my mind to. This feels so good. This is my freedom. I get to choose what I want to believe. Now we go underneath the nose. This new belief feels empowering, and it's beginning to feel really true. Chin, crease, remember? I'm letting go of my old limitations, and I am embracing my power. Collarbone. I feel lighter, and I feel really more open to these endless possibilities. I'm open to receiving them. We go underneath the arm. Bra strap height, remember? My new belief supports, and it supports my dreams, and it supports my goals. That's what my belief does. It supports my dreams and my goals. Woo! On top of the head. So I'm choosing, again, I'm using my gift of choice. I am choosing to believe in myself and my infinite potential, because I have infinite potential. Now I want you to put your hands down in your lap, just close your eyes. I want you to take a really deep breath. I don't know if you do yoga or whatever, but breathe, keep your shoulders down, and just breathe all this wonderful oxygen right into the center of your body and expand your belly like a Buddha. And blow it out, and then bring your belly button into your spine and whoosh out that air. That's a good deep breath that sort of flushed out your whole body. One more time. Inhale and okay. And open your eyes and take a look at yourself, your body, how you feel, and just notice what intensity of frustration you're feeling now that you felt before. Before you graded yourself from a 0 to 10, what is that number at now? And I'd like to see your numbers in the chat box. 3 from a what? What was it before? Oh, so you went from a 10 to a 3. Excellent. And what about the rest of you guys? Elizabetta, Jennifer, Christine, Katrina, come on. Louise went from an 8 to a... Oh, you went up. So Louise, you were feeling better before the tapping? Okay, Katrina felt nothing from a 6 to a 0. So you really shifted a lot, Katrina. Okay, got you, release. Okay, I got you, release, fine. So you shifted. You feel better. That's excellent. Who has not put in their numbers? Elizabetta? Christine. Christine. Okay, well, if you don't want to put it in, that's fine with me. But I mean, I just want you to be aware of it yourself. I want you to be aware that what you did just now, you felt a shift. Now, that's not a figment of your imagination, by the way. Okay? This is not wishful thinking. And what we did was we addressed something that was negative, a limiting belief that was making you feel not good. And after a few minutes of tapping, we did 3 rounds, you're feeling different. Now, today, everybody feels lighter and better. That's great. But there will, and there might be times when you're feeling worse. Now, that's not bad, because that's what it's saying is it's your energy, which was bad, it was stagnant. And at least now it's moving and it's actually making you feel worse. But it's good because it's moving. So when that is the case, what you want to do is, of course, the name of the game is to feel as good as you can. And do another round of tapping and see how it diminishes, right? Just see for yourself. I like to tell people, because tapping is the opposite of positive thinking, right? Tapping is really looking the devil in the eye and addressing it. So you don't want to stay too long in that stagnant pond, but you do want to stay there long enough to identify it and do something about it. If you see that after maybe 2 or 3 rounds, let's say you've done 30, 40 minutes of tapping, you're feeling worse or it hasn't shifted, leave it. Sometimes the energy just needs more time to break loose and start to disengage, okay? But don't stay in there for hours tapping about what's bad. That's not going to do you any good, right? Okay. So now I want to do a tapping about identifying doubts. So I'd like you all to think, Beverly, I'd like you to think about something that you doubt. And I'm going to give you, I've written down a few examples to give you and see if it sort of triggers you, right? And you can use, statements such as, even though I doubt I'll ever find a healthy relationship, or even though I doubt I'll ever get that promotion. You're being honest with yourself. I'm hustling and grinding and I've done everything, but I just not working out, And so I doubt whatever I want is ever going to happen. Lose the weight, put on the weight, get a better health, increase my bank account, have the breakthrough. Whatever it is that's been at heart for you and you haven't achieved it. In the back of you, that monkey voice is saying, I doubt it. And that's what we want to address right now. We're going to address that doubt, okay? Even though I'm not good enough to succeed in my business, maybe you're walking around with this belief that you don't have the right exams or don't have any exams, or not enough money or too much money or too fat or too thin, or that, you live in the wrong country or the wrong city, or that the wrong friends, or you're in, right? Those are doubts. And those doubts we want to address. So, some sample phrases could be this fear of rejection, or what if I'm not good enough? Or I feel like I'm going to fail. So, no matter how hard I try, so why the hell should I even bother to try again? I failed every time, right? So I want you to identify something for yourself before we go any further, what we're going to tap on. So take a minute and let me know Just lift your hand when you've identified something so I can see. Good, 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 great, good, let's go. So we're going to shift the focus from releasing limiting beliefs. And we can say on the karate chop, even though I have this doubt, what if it's not the truth? Even though I'm scared of letting go of this doubt because I've had it for so long, I'm willing to let go of it now, even if it feels hard. I'm used to it. It's part of my elevator pitch, but I'm willing to let go of it. Now, I'm going to ask you to say, I choose to let go of this doubt. I choose to let go of this fear because I love myself. And then we're going to go to the eyebrows. This doubt doesn't have to control me anymore. Side of the eye. I'm ready to feel confident underneath the eye. Even though feeling confident is not something I'm used to, underneath the nose. I'm ready to discover how it feels to feel confident. Chin. Knowing that I will have done this process. Collarbone. I'm starting small. It's my first little baby step. But I've got the courage of discovering my potential. Top of the head. I'm really ready, and I'm choosing to feel ready and confident and open to all of these possibilities. And we go back to the eyes and we're going to say, I'm worthy of love. If it's love, if it's business for you, I want you to say, I'm worthy of business, whatever is your issue. Okay. So I'm worthy of what you want. Side of the eye. Because I have what it takes to succeed and to grow. I go underneath your eyes and go, I'm capable of creating, and in your own mind, say what it is that you want to create. I'm capable of creating, and say that, identify it, identify what you want. And even if it's blurry and it's a long sentence, maybe you put a symbol to it, but I want you to identify it to yourself. Underneath the eyes, and I'm sorry, underneath the nose. Success is possible for me. One step at a time. You go to the chin. And I am choosing to trust myself, collarbone, even though trusting myself in this area is new to me, underneath the arm. And I'm trusting myself to handle these challenges because it's a challenge with grace. Top of the head. Do I even know what grace feels like? Maybe not. But I'm open to it because that means I'm going with the flow. Now we're going to go back to the eyes. I want you to repeat that doubt, that negative belief that you have, because a doubt is a negative belief, okay? Just in your own words, repeat it to yourself what that doubt is blocking you, side of the eye. And let's find a calming and a confident statement underneath your eyes that you can choose for yourself. Think of a calming statement. And if you can't think of one for yourself, maybe think of your child or your best friend or your partner, and you would want to calm them. What would you tell them? Think of a statement underneath the nose. Just keep on thinking of that statement underneath your nose. Think of that statement and see what comes to mind. Go to the chin. There is no right or wrong statement. It's just something that you feel good with, right? And this is probably new to a lot of you, looking for statements like this. But you're actually taking the action by tapping, and you're making that happen. Your energy is shifting as you're tapping. This is, collarbone, what loving yourself is all about. You're taking an action which is calming your body underneath the arm, which is allowing what I call the cobwebs, which you can't see, but the cobwebs know how to untangle themselves. Top of the head. And as the cobwebs untangle themselves, light starts to come through. And when the sunlight shines on a cobweb, all of a sudden you see a cobweb. And you can put the duster or the hoover there and away it goes. So as you're dancing back to the eyebrows, this sort of stop and go, what's bothering me? Side of the eye. I don't even have clarity on what's bothering me underneath the eye, but I know that as I'm tapping, I'm loving myself underneath the nose. And I know that that loving myself is releasing in the background, chin, the right cobwebs that are attached to my limiting beliefs, to my negative thoughts. And I'm not judging those thoughts. I'm not judging the beliefs. They are there as a warning sign for me. And the warning sign is my emotion. So when I feel uncomfortable or bad, it's not bad. It's just a warning sign. Red light, time to tap, time to love yourself. Underneath the arm, time to let whatever the buried causes are in the background make their way to the top. And let's just end on the top of the head and say, and I choose every day in every way, my mind, my body, my spirit, to get better and better because I deserve it, because I love myself. And put your hands down. And just take a deep breath in again. Come on. Let that oxygen sort of flow through you and fill yourself up. Okay? And breathe in again and let it relax. Lovely. Now, we did 2 rounds of tapping, and a lot of you experienced the shift in the first one. If you can remember your numbers from the second one, what number are you feeling now? Just by feeling better. You want to put it in the wonderful 1, great. 6, what were you before, Elisabetta? Beverley 2, Elizabeth. You were an 8, so you went down 2, Elizabeth, okay? Jay went from a 6 to a 3, good. Do we have everyone there? We don't have Christine. Katrina, during that round, I felt like vomiting at one point. Wow. So it went from a 0 to a 6, and I'm sitting around now. You had a, Katrina, let's go off mic now, okay? Unmute yourselves so that I can hear you. Katrina, do you feel for yourself how strong this acted on your body?
Yeah, I think I mentioned, I asked the question, is it normal to feel really hot? Because there were, so I felt different waves of different things in the different rounds. And at one point I felt resistance, like a tightness. And then I kept getting a really profound, strong tightness in my throat chakra a lot.
In
I
your
also
throat.
felt like, my throat. And I felt like being sick at one point. I was like, oh, I don't feel good.
Let me ask you something, Katrina, okay? Just think to yourself, I mean, the throat, as everybody probably knows, is the organ of communication, okay? Is there anything, just think for yourself, is there anything that you've been uncomfortable in the past with communicating or to somebody?
Inner child, that's goes back a long way. That's as a child. Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the perfect example of what you haven't been addressing because you're scared, right? The fear of communicating that. So when you do your tapping for yourself, you just admit, I'm scared of addressing this, whatever it is, okay, thought or belief, and I don't know how to address it, nor to who to address it, but I'm going to address it in my own way, even if I don't, and just keep on. Tapping is not an exercise in literature. Okay. Tapping is simply speaking to yourself, honestly, relaxed, as you would speak to a friend. Or sometimes, if you want to be more precise, as if you go to a doctor, the doctor wants you to know exactly what's going on and where, and the doctor doesn't have time for you to listen, tell you your whole story, okay? Whatever feels good for you, but tap while you do it. Because your subconscious mind knows that you are used to being in this zone. And the role of the subconscious mind is to protect you, right? But protecting you doesn't mean to do what's good for you. The subconscious mind, when it wants to protect you, simply wants to keep you in the area which you are familiar with. And that is why it doesn't allow you, that's why alcoholics go back to drinking, because they're used to drinking. So the subconscious mind gives them lots of reasons why they should go back to drinking, the logical reasons. But when you start talking with your subconscious mind by tapping, because you're releasing barriers, then you're saying to your subconscious mind, you know what, guys? I'm the new boss here. And even though I'm not used to this, I'm going to keep on tapping until I find out what it is that I'm scared of addressing. And bit by bit, every time you do that, your subconscious mind is getting used to the new you. And this is how you reprogram your subconscious mind, by getting into a new comfort zone. And the new comfort zone is now, oh, I feel really comfortable addressing the issues. Do you understand the process? So you want to, tapping allows us.
Okay.
Does he want tapping? Tapping allows us to, even if we don't know where we're going or what we're tapping at, it knows that we're looking for a new comfort zone. And tapping removes this resistance which you felt, right? Whoa, where does she think she's going, you know? And out came the resistance. Ooh. Your body is the conversation of your emotions. It's the translator of your emotions. Does that help you? And what you want to do is, I'm going to show you a little one here. This one's easy to do in private. You see your fourth and your fifth knuckle, right? Doesn't matter which hand. So let's say you're in a meeting with somebody and they're really triggering you. They're pushing your buttons, you know, or you can just see that they're going to fire you by the end of the conversation, you know, and you're getting really scared because you're feeling defenseless and you're scared. You can't start doing this, but you can take one finger and put it between the fifth and the fourth knuckle and down like a centimeter. You can feel like a little hole. It's like the gamut point. Okay. And you just tap there. that's going to calm you down. And you can put your hands underneath, the table, and you can just keep on tapping. Nobody's going to see you doing it. But you, while you're tapping, you're actively destroying the message of fear that's coming from this conversation that you feel might turn bad. So you're listening to your body. And you are empowering yourself as you do this. Right? So tapping is about, I use tapping, I don't know, maybe I do it 20, 30 times a day. Okay? It's just like I'm thirsty. Here I'm thirsty. I pick up a glass of water and I put it down. Sometimes I'm with clients and I might even be afraid that I don't have the right answers for them. So then obviously my own insecurity rises to the top. And I said, oh my God, I can't be of service to them, And I put my hands underneath the table. They don't see me. I'm on Zoom. I'm tapping away. And the right words come to me because I've released that moment of fear, which blocks everything. Have a fight with a partner. He upsets me. Boom, start tapping. Even though I'm upset, I love myself. I address the problem. I'm really pissed off. This calms me down. The situation doesn't change. Right? The situation doesn't change because life is not here to break us. Life's here to make us. And how does it make us? It makes us by giving us the ability to use every situation to our own advantage to go to get better. This is where we do the active self-empowerment, self-transformation. I just want you to know this, okay? I'm a mindset coach. That's what I do, right? I work with leadership. I work with sports people, name it, because everything starts in the mind. Now, it's all very nice to say, I'm going to do my vision boards and I'm going to, establish my goals and I'm going to write my goals, okay? But that's what I call building the dream, building our reality. But like a house, that house has got to be built on solid foundations. So if we're out there doing our rewrites or our micro shifts of energy, whatever it is that people choose, or our meditations, whatever it is that people choose because they're consciously building the reality that they want, if it's done on shaky foundations, it's like the paint, it's going to fall off a wall that's not rendered. And when we tap, the tapping allows this chippy paint in the background to fall off the walls so that we can render the walls, and now we can put the paint on and the paint will stay for ages. So I use tapping as the precursor for building. Does anyone have any questions? I'm sure you do. No, it's all clear to you. So tapping is like part one of creating my reality.
And Nicole, could you let everybody know, it doesn't matter the pressure, hard or soft, with the tapping?
No, it's not hard, but it's, just normal so that you can feel it. Now, the tempo that I like to use, but everybody gets into their own tempo. I want you to know there's no right or wrong with tapping, okay? You can't do it badly. The only way you can do it badly is not tapping. I promise you. Right? Now, my tempo is I sort of like to do it about, I don't know, sort of 7 to 10 times on each point. Right? Sometimes I'm, at night, I'm sleeping and I can't sort of lift my arm because I'm on my stomach or whatever, I'll just forget this point and I'll just tap on my upper face, right? Or I'll tap on the side of my hand while I'm sleeping because I know that my intention, right, which is intention, is to release resistance to any worries that I've got that I might have during the night, which are stopping me from sleeping. Or my mind is running round and round in circles. So I'll just tap here and I'll say, I wish I could get rid, and I'm going to get rid of these thoughts like monkey wheel, and I just tap. But I'm tapping. And my body is automatically releasing these negative frequencies. So my tempo is about 7 to 10 times.
Right. And just to wind up, a few people have messaged me who couldn't make it. And a lot of them are not sleeping at night. They wake up with worries or, should do this, should have done that, or a problem that is really happening in their lives. How can they go back to sleep and stop their monkey mind?
Well, tapping is the fastest. Because what you do is you say, you address that you can't sleep. That's the problem, right? Forget the why, right? I've got bad thoughts. Forget that. On the moment they want to go to sleep, even though I can't sleep, I love myself. Even though I can't control the racing thoughts in my mind, I accept them. I accept them. They're there, right? I'm not saying you don't exist. I accept them. Even though I don't know how to get rid of these thoughts, what can I do? Because they're keeping me awake. I accept it, but I still love myself. And then you start tapping. And I want to give a little explanation about what we call the setup sentence, which is, and just remember this because this is the beginning of your GPS, right? You say, so that your GPS knows where you are. You go, even though problem. And you say the problem in like one sentence. That's why you have it. I give people 3 times to say it. You want it to be clear, right? Even though I can't sleep, problem. And then you always end with something nice. I accept it. I love myself. I respect myself. I'm wonderful. Why is this important? Because when we have a problem, the body tends to believe we're unworthy. We're not good enough. But when you say, even though problem, I love myself, I accept myself, in love, we open up. The body opens up. And now it says, oh, okay, fine, I got a problem. What the hell? I'm not the only one. Out with the problem. I still love myself. I'm loved. No matter what I do, I'm loved. So that's why it's so important to say, yes, go on, Jennifer. Get off mute. Get off mute.
I didn't have a question. I was writing and
Oh, I
affirming
thought
maybe
you
in myself.
I thought
Sorry.
you put your hand up. Okay, sorry. So that's the reason for the setup sentence saying, even though problem, I love myself. Even though address the problem from another angle, because you got one sentence, I accept it. Even though this problem is same problem, I love myself. Only tap on one issue at a time. This is really important. Don't put in your whole life story like, even though, I can't sleep because, I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage, and I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage because, I don't have a job, and I don't have a job because they're going to fire me, and they're going to fire me because the economy is good. Hey, where do you want to start? One subject at a time.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Really enlightening. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad it
Thank
helps
you
you
so
all.
much, Nicole.
I'm glad
And
it's a
Nicole's
thing.
details are in the chat box, and I'll message them all to you. And she runs regular masterclasses. She's got online programs. And as she mentioned, she does one-on-ones, you know.
I do one-on-ones, and there's one thing which I want to, you know, tell everyone. Knowing this is great. What counts, what really delivers the results is the doing. And I have put a course, I mean, I've got 3 courses on you'll find on my links, and one of them is called Dismantling Your Barriers to Success. Even though the course is very much addressed, the scripts in the course are very much addressed to, you know, financial issues, professional career issues. The course, which has got about 40 videos in it, explains to you in much more detail than what I could cover today. And it takes about maybe a month and a half to 2 months, and you go through the videos bit by bit. But if you do it every day, and you can with the course, you just watch the videos. Some of the videos are 8 minutes, some of the videos are 15 minutes, you know. But the fact of familiarizing yourself with the process, and you can change the words, that's very easy to do. But the fact of your intention is opening to learn another way to take care of yourself, that's going to deliver tremendous results. And if you want live interaction, I'm sorry. We should let me do a show.
I'm sorry.
Do you have to go to the doctor now?
Yes.
I'm going to be ready in 2 minutes.
No, I've been there.
Okay,
Everything is fine.
sorry. Yes, I was saying, if you get into the habit of doing this every single day, then after a while, it becomes a reflex, right? So you have this automatic tool at your hand, which is a reflex. Like I said, I'm thirsty, boom, I drink. Simple as that. So the courses are very good because you've got the videos and a download, and you can just pop on a video a day, or, you know, at the end of the day, you can just watch a little video and it'll refresh your mind. It's got a workbook with it. You can take it to your own space, but it's good to do it every day. Every day, a few minutes, 15, 20 minutes, right? You're developing a new habit. And like I said, EFT, they call it sometimes the 1-minute wonder because you get results right away. You can feel the shift right away. But for your body to remember the direction of where you want to go, you have to keep on doing it. That's how you build a new habit. And you want to get into the habit of building the habit that you can acknowledge your problems and respectfully thank them for the message and release the vibration so that you get clarity, because those are the clouds. And then you get the clarity. And when you have the clarity, then you can take all your thoughts and you can chunk them down. And then you can declutter your thoughts, right? So you can put, these are the business thoughts. These are the relationship thoughts. These are the emotional thoughts. These are the health thoughts, right? And now you can start to chunk them down, which makes it so much easier for us to address one chunk at a time. Everybody's on mute.
Thank you. That was brilliant. And I've seen lots of messages saying how wonderful and how people are enjoying it. So to wrap up, thank you so much for giving up your precious time. And everybody will have your details. And for the people watching the replay, I'll add all your details in that as well. So thank you so much for this enlightening call. I know everybody has really enjoyed it. And fingers crossed we'll all keep tapping. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. That was wonderful.